Season 22's gun meta is a lot different than Season 21, with multiple buffs and nerfs to ammo capacity, akimbos, weapon damage, and rates of fire. There's a lot to talk about, and with ALGS Split 2 playoffs just finishing up, I'm going to show you the top 7 weapons that Apex pros are using. This is certified, stats only, no opinions. These are the top 7 weapons in the game. Let's not waste any time and get right into it. We all know that the Akimbo Mozambiques are the best gun in the game right now. They had miles more kills than any other weapon in the game. They were so strong, it had people using just one Mozambique just so they can hopefully find another. They were willing to run one Mozam just for the hope, the aspirations of finding a second one. These things are unbelievable. Even without hammer points, this thing is a menace. 12 shots that can deal 45 damage each at a very, very rapid pace. You don't even need the shotgun bolt. These weapons don't even need attachments. They are by far and away the best weapon in the game, but you already knew that. So let's get to some of the other weapons in the game that are a little bit more interesting. We're going to bundle number 2 and 3 together, the Nemesis and the Hemlock. The Nemesis barely edges out the Hemlock in both damage and kills, but frankly, it's just a familiarity thing. There are pros and cons to running the Nemesis versus the Hemlock and vice versa, and I'll break those down a little bit for you here. The pros for the Nemesis are it does have a faster time to kill because it has that charged up feature where the rate of fire will start increasing as you fire. It also deals more damage per burst because it has a 4-round burst that do about 14 damage per bullet, whereas the Hemlock only has a 3-round burst that does 19 damage per bullet. So you can see it's a little bit more damaging. There's a higher DPS, higher rate of fire with the Nemesis, but the pros to the Hemlock are that it's only a 3-round burst, meaning it's easier to hit a full burst on an opponent. It's a lot more ammo efficient. I would say that the Nemesis is definitely better at the close medium to medium long range, where the Hemlock definitely excels at those really long ranges. When you're using that 4x sight on your 2x4, the Hemlock probably better for sustained damage, but the Nemesis much better at surprisingly knocking an enemy very quickly. I think you're much more likely to get knocks with the Nemesis, which is why you saw a few more kills in general, but both weapons are outstanding. You can't go wrong running a Nemesis or a Hemlock. My preference, just like you see on screen, I think the Nemesis is a little bit better, but you can't go wrong running either weapon. Number 4 is easily the most overpowered weapon of the last 6 months. This is the Havoc. Yes, even with the Havoc getting a little bit of an ammo nerf and a little bit of a hipfire nerf, this gun is still outstanding. I absolutely believe that if you couldn't akimbo the Mozambiques, the Havoc rifle would still be the #1 weapon in Apex. It just does so much damage. It has more bullets than a flatline, does as much damage per bullet as a flatline, and it shoots faster than the flatline. It's just a supercharged weapon. And when you get this weapon in the hands of a really, really good player, we've all seen the clips. You can one-clip 1, 2, sometimes knock an entire team with one magazine of this Havoc if they've already got a little bit of damage on them. This thing's amazing. The literal only reason this is in 4th place is because the Akimbo Mozambiques are so strong and everyone was picking those up because shotguns got such a nice buff. The Havoc is still amazing. It is still definitely the best automatic rifle in the game, and I highly suggest anyone picking it up, especially if you're one of those Revenant crutches. For the record, I hate the Revenant Havoc crutches, but whatever, I gotta admit, it's the truth. Number 5 is very interesting to me, the Mastiff shotgun. Now, Peacekeeper and Mastiff enjoyers are both very, very happy this season, but the Mastiff is the one that's truly shining with this shotgun pellet rework. The Mastiff now only has 6 pellets in the total burst, so one shell will shoot 6 pellets that deal 15 damage each. If you're doing the math, that means you can hit for 90 with the Mastiff, which is a big deal. That means that the Mastiff now is better than the Peacekeeper without disruptor rounds at pretty much every shield level. White shield, blue shield, purple shield, red shield, you want the Mastiff, and it is easy to hit those 90 pumps, those 60 pumps. And we know the Mastiff has a chokeable spread, much like the Peacekeeper. When you aim down sight, the spread gets a lot tighter, which means the Mastiff is very, very consistent. With the fewer pellets to deal more damage and the choke with the spread you can do on the Mastiff, this is a consistent big time hitter. A lot of people, if you are a more heavy hitting shotgun enjoyer, are switching to the Mastiff right now, and I would highly recommend it, especially if you're a Newcastle or a Gibby player or just someone that likes to use heavy hitting shotguns. Outside of the Mastiff 2-tap meta and anytime it's been in the care package, the Mastiff has literally never been better than it is right now. The 6th best weapon, according to the pros, is the Flatline, and we don't have to spend too much time on this, frankly, because you already know all the reasons. The Flatline is just the Diet Havoc, the Havoc Jr. It's got 29 bullets in a magazine now. It did receive a little bit of a nerf, but heavy ammo is a bit more prevalent than energy ammo, and you can carry more per stack. Plus, a lot of people just enjoy the flatline recoil more than they do the Havoc. The Havoc is a little bit more jumpy, a little bit harder to control, but the flatline is as consistent can be. It's been amazing since the start of the game. It's always been near the top of the meta or the meta. If it weren't for the Nemesis and the Hemlock just being a little bit better at range, I actually do think we'd be in a flatline meta right now. So I highly recommend picking up the flatline. It's always as good as it's always been. Good old consistent Havoc Jr. Pick up the flatline anytime you see it. The 7th and final weapon on our list is the G7 Scout. This was the last weapon in the ALGS Split 2 playoffs to get over 100 kills, and it's pretty easy to see why. This gun is a damage farmer. It is an outstanding weapon to farm damage at 34 damage per shot, 20 bullets in a magazine, and a very quick fire rate. Plus, light ammo now, you can hold 72 ammo per stack, which means that you really, at maximum, need to carry 3 stacks of ammo, arguably 2, to make the G7 Scout a really, really viable primary weapon. This gun probably outputs the best consistent damage at range of pretty much any gun in the game. I would argue even more than the Hemlock. The G7 Scout is the best at farming up your evos, at getting picks at long range. I firmly believe that the G7 Scout, even though it's a top 7 weapon according to the pros, is still underrated, and I think we should be seeing more of it in our ranked games. I would highly suggest, if you haven't been running the G7 Scout, go get some practice with this gun. There is not a better damage farming weapon in the game. And in a game right now where Vantage can 2-tap you on blue shields, you gotta get to purple ASAP. So I absolutely highly recommend the G7 Scout. There's a reason this thing had 140,000 damage and only 109 kills in ALGS. It is a damage farmer. It's outstanding. It's consistent, reliable damage. Highly recommend picking up that G7 Scout. The pros were doing it. I think you should too. Finally, these last 3 weapons didn't get over 100 kills in the Split 2 playoffs of ALGS, but pros still run them with somewhat regularity, and I want to shout them out here because I think they might fit some of your playstyles a little bit better, and you might find that you really enjoy these more off-meta weapons. I want to start with the L-Star. The L-Star is very, very consistent. The bullet size is very, very large, so it's hard to miss with the L-Star. Of course, we all know you don't have to reload, but it also has the gun shield generator hop-up now, which gives you an extra 40 or so health. It's honestly a pretty good choice, and I would suggest running the L-Star if you aren't used to it. Next, I'll also list the Sentinel. This is the most boom or bust weapon in the game, and if you are a good sniper, I definitely suggest running this weapon. Its downside is its inconsistency, having such a low fire rate and only 7 bullets max per magazine, but the gun is an absolute behemoth when it's charged up, especially those headshots. It's the baby Kraber for a reason, and I would suggest at least considering it if you are a good sniper. Maybe my hottest take, but the last weapon I want to point out is the EVA 8. We probably all saw the disastrous monsoon EVA 8 whiff clip, but there's a reason he was running that weapon. EVA 8 does have one of the fastest time to kills in the entire game right now. If you can get up close with someone in the EVA 8 and you can spray pretty quickly, especially with this boosted loader hop-up where you can have 10 bullets per magazine or clip or drum of the EVA 8, it's a really strong gun. Don't sleep on the EVA 8. Don't sleep on it. Just try it, see if it's for you, but don't sleep on it. That's it for this video. Those are the 7 weapons that the pros believe are the best in the game. They used it to compete for over $1 million last weekend, and then 3 additional weapons that are somewhat off meta that the pros did enjoy but didn't quite eclipse 100 kills. Let me know what you think in the comments. Are the pros missing your favorite weapon? Is there a weapon you think is really slept on that others should be trying to run? I'd love to read your comments. I'll engage with you down there. If you're not subscribed, please do consider subscribing to the channel. Helps me out a ton. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.